Okay, so I want to invite everybody or welcome everybody out to our April FamilySearch gig meeting. And this month we are talking about Italian research on FamilySearch. So we all heard of Italian research when we started this back in the beginning when I was supposed to do Irish, but we'll talk about Italian today. So I'm going to share my screen here. And I have to move all of these little things around. Well, that didn't do any good. I now have this entire screen. There we go. Okay. So as we've done with the other research topics, we're going to start out with FamilySearch and go to the wiki. Of course, by now you should know how to find that. Let me know, speak up if you can't hear me, because I've got you all in the background now. But speak up if you can't see the pop-ups that I'm going across. You should be able to see these, right? Can you see where I've hit search and now it has records, image, FamilySearch, wiki, and so on? Can everybody see that? Okay, I'm assuming you can see it. Nobody's answering me, but I'm assuming. Okay, so in search, you would go to research wiki. And again, the reason why we're going to the research wiki is to see where all of the records are kept and what records are available. And so we're going to go to Italy, and notice when we do that, it says genealogy, civil registers, census, record finding, immigration, and so on. So I'm going to click on the genealogy page, and now we're directly into the Italy genealogy page. Notice that it goes out to Europe, so we could go to the Europe genealogy page if we wanted to. So it says this page has recently been restructured. For more information, see new country page changes. So basically, there are people that are working on the wikis. They're trying to keep them updated all the time. You'll notice now that the most of the locality pages now have these 3 boxes in them. So Italy online genealogy records, online research helps, and getting started. So they're trying to transition into that format so that you can see things right up above at the top of the page. And so also in the country information, it says that it's bordered by France, Switzerland, Austria, Slovenia, San Marino, and Vatican City, and became a unified country in 1861. So that's important also, especially if your family lives right along the borders. You know, I get a lot of people saying, oh, my family's German, and we find out they're Polish, you know, so if you're along the borders, you might want to check into these other localities. But if we just click on the Italy online genealogy records, this now gives us a list of the records that are available at FamilySearch as well as other locations. So you see here, like the birth records, 1679 to 1969, for the Valdesian Evangelical Church is on FamilySearch. There's indexes and images, and it's also available on Ancestry and American Ancestors. Then you go to 1806 to 1900, Italy births and baptisms at FamilySearch, Ancestry, MyHeritage, civil registration records on Antenati. Antenati is a free website, so it's a great place to do your Italian research. Generally, whenever somebody comes in and asks me about Italian research, I send them there first and we'll see what we can find. And then so you can see there's, free records and records that charge, Ancestry, MyHeritage, and so on. So it's always good to come to this location first, figure out which sets of records are available, who has those records, and then try to see if you can access those on your computer. A lot of times we're working on those births, marriages, and deaths records. And so you can make sure that you have the right sets of records, that they're available for those time periods. So I'm going to go back over to Italy again. You have the online research help page, and we click on this. This is available for almost all locations, but you have the online genealogy consultations. And so you can schedule a meeting with somebody over at the FamilySearch library for 20 minutes. Or if you're doing DNA, it's 40 minutes. And so you can schedule your time, and they'll set up a Zoom conference with you, and you can talk to them about the questions you have, and they'll try to help you find the records that you need. You also have the FamilySearch community groups, and these community groups are just like the old chat boards, the message boards. So you can post questions in those, and somebody will get back and answer those questions. And then there are online research groups that you can join. And in these research groups, you can post specific questions, or you can ask somebody for translation help or just general help through those groups. So those are good places to know about as you're doing your research. And then we have the getting started. And of course, for every country that has a getting started button, this is that first step in doing your research. So it's going to give you that advice on how to do research, identify what you know, document your sources, decide what you want to learn, select the record sets, analyze and use the information. But it also has this guided research on it, that when you click the guided research, it says, do you know the province? Yes or no. So if you know the province, you can click on that, and then it gives you the list of the provinces to select from. If you don't know it, then you have an option A. If you know the town, then you can go through and search by the town. If your ancestor immigrated to the US, it's going to help you try to figure out the town of origin. There are online maps down here also, so that'll help you out. And so we'll go back over to the Italy research. Now, as you saw in that getting started, it asks you, do you know the province? So here's an interactive map with the locations in it. And so you can say, oh, I know the location. It's, we'll just pick this one right here, Viterbo. So now in Viterbo, we can see the records that are available. We've talked to the community, and we can see the information here about the city of Viterbo, municipalities in Viterbo, what records are available on Antenati for that location, the online digital records for civil registration that's on FamilySearch, and how to read them. So you know that nati are the births, matrimony and allegati are the marriages, morti are the deaths, and then the indici decennali are the 10-year indexes or the census records for us. It's important to know those basic terminology when you're doing your research. I had a person in last night who was doing German research, and she didn't understand the terms for birth, baptism, marriage, death, burial. And so we had to go through those terms so she knew what types of records she was looking for. And you usually will find those terms on the cover sheet or at the top of the page for each of those sets of records. And then writing for civil registration certificates, it tells you that not all of these are online. Many are not even microfilmed. So you may have to contact the municipalities directly. Here's an address, and then what you need to do, cashier's check, full name and address, and so on. Digital, online, and microfilm records. So as of 2020, all of the microfilms have been digitized at the FamilySearch libraries. But that doesn't mean that all of those films are digitized and online on FamilySearch. So there may be records that are not viewable at home or not viewable at the FamilySearch centers. So you can try, see if the records are available. If not, you may have to contact the locality and see if those records are available there. Instructions on how to write to a Catholic priest for church records, and understanding the records. So, what types of records are you looking for? Why are you looking for that type of record? So, civil registration records, those are the government records, while the church records are the ones kept in the church. So you may be able to find a church record, but you might not be able to find a civil registration record or vice versa. So just knowing the types of records that are available for your locality is helpful. And then, of course, reading the records. So they do give you an Italian genealogical word list. And so if we click on that word list, it breaks it down, gender, verb tense, spelling, so on. And then here are the words that you'll find in most of your records. So ani is age, ano is year. And so when you look at the words over here, you can find these in your records and then determine what that word means when it's in English to help you read those records. Now, I know some of you are really good at reading your Italian records and others haven't really had that opportunity. Don't be afraid of looking at records that are in another language. As long as you can identify some specific words in those records, you should be able to figure out what that record is telling you. And so just have this word list next to you while you're doing the research, so you can just exchange, reference back to that word list to figure out what you're trying to read. It's always important to have the numbers lists and the months list. I was doing some research the other day in French records, and it was after the French Revolution. So they changed their calendar. They changed the names of the months. They changed the number of days in a month, the number of days in a week. Everything has changed. And I had a hard time figuring out what I was reading because I had this type of list with the standardized word text, but I had to go find the words as they were written after the French Revolution for 10 years. And the years were 1, 2, 3, 4 is Roman numerals IV. It's like that's year 4. So year 4 is now this year. So just being aware of when they change, if they change naming conventions or something like that. But having the months here with you is very helpful because, if I would see Maggio, I might think that's a name, not a month, or Giugno, I don't know. So, looking at these, I wouldn't necessarily think that these are months if I was looking at a record. But April and March, February, September, October, November, December, those are pretty easy. Of course, the days of the week, again, have that information available while you're doing your research. I run into these quite often. It tells you what time of day that the child was born or the baptism occurred or something like that. So you'll see these words in some of those records. And then the general word lists. There's a lot of different words here that you might run into. So just, know that for every country, you can find these word lists in the wiki. And I don't know how far down this goes because I'm sure it goes down all the way to Z. Yep, and that's it. Okay. I'm going to go back over to Italy again. Of course, you have your regions. You can click directly on the regions, the provinces here. The other thing is over here on this right-hand side, you have your beginning research, how to find the town of origin, getting started, online learning. If you haven't done Italian research, or even if you have done Italian research, it's always good to look at this online learning to see what type of classes are available. So you can see here's a class from Roots Tech, and this is the Italian Catholic Parish Research. Here's another one from Roots Tech. This one's in Italian. Notice many of these are, well, in Spanish, English, Italian, English. So, here's a beginning Italian research in English from Roots Tech. The FamilySearch Learning Center, there's a basic Italian research in English. So all of these are videos where you can watch an instructor, download a handout, and watch, learn how to do the research for this locality. So that's a really good resource there. Research strategies. So this lays out the research strategies for Italian research. First of all, locating birth records. Which time period is your birth record in? Well, if it's 1809 to 1865, we can click on this, and then this is going to tell us the strategy for finding that set of records. But it might be different for earlier or later time frames. Language helps. We just showed you those, but there's also the letter writing guide. So, this is how you write letters. It's going to lay out the letters, how you would write the letters for different types of records. And this here gives you there we go. Okay. So I knew it had to. So here's the sentence in English, and then here's the sentence in Italian. So it gives you some basic sentences that you want to use in your letter, and then provides the English and Italian version of it. And you can see it does this for the requests and referrals and payments and follow-ups and so on, and then gives you an example letter here where you can just fill in these sentences to add the context to the letter you're looking for. Translation of documents. How do you do this? Well, this is different types. So Italian birth document translation, pre-unification or post-unification. If I click on this, it's going to give me the basic format of the document and then a translation of that document. So it'll help me figure out what I'm reading here. So you can see there's this birth record here, the standard form in Italian, and then the English translation, or this page over here, again, the Italian and English translation for it. If we look at the post-unification document, this is the standard document here. And again, it's giving me the English and the Italian records. You can print these out and have them sitting there right next to you when you're doing your research. Marriage records, civil marriages, death records, and so on. The other thing is you always want to have your timeline available. So when were these records kept? If you're looking for church records, 1500s, you might find some in the 1400s. But if you're looking at conscription records, it's the late 1800s. If you're looking at passport records, it's the 1800s to early 1900s. So when you're looking at for these records, keep an eye on that, because you don't want to be looking for records that don't exist. It's too early for that type of record, or that record wasn't kept at that period of time. You can see there's record types for businesses and occupations. And so there's sulfur mining. Looks like that's the only one they have in here in this list. But there's an Italian occupations list that looks like that web page doesn't work anymore. So that'd be something for somebody to fix. Census records. So if you look at census records here, you can see that the earliest census, 1748, is kept at GeniaNet. And then the other census records, where you're going to find them, the availability for those records, and so on. Probate records, so if you're looking for specific sets of records, you want to check in these and get the information about those types of records. And then we have the handwriting, which is always important. And you can see here, you have the handwriting pages. So you want to keep these, with you when you're reading handwritten documents, so you can reference these letters and make sure that you're getting the right letters for your information, or the information that you're trying to read. Notice, how many different ways a G can be written, or an F. So it might be difficult to find, read the word if you're not used to the letters that are being used. And then down here, they give you some of the words, so you can actually see what some of the words look like as examples when you're doing your research. Let's see, religious records, school, taxation, and so on. Social life and customs. This has been one of the talks that I've been giving lately about social history. When you're looking at researching an area, you want to know about the social history of the area, or the customs of the area. So, for example, family life. Well, here's a book on family life in Italy, past and present. And if we click on this, you'll see it says that this book is not available outside the Salt Lake City Family Search Center. So that doesn't help you too much. But then you can go to WorldCat and see if it's someplace else nearby. And it isn't. So it's available in Utah. Social histories of Italy. So maybe you can find some of these books. I'll take a quick look here and see if it's. So that one's available at the FamilySearch library, and it's not available anywhere else. But at least you can figure out where these books are held. Okay, so that's a quick little run through on the wiki. Want to also run through and do the catalog. So again, we go to search catalog. And with the catalog, you can type in the place name. So if we had a specific town in Italy, let's do Palermo. So you can see here, Palermo, Sicily, Italy. And I'll click on that one. And then we'll hit search. These are the record sets that are available for it. We can go up to the next level. And it says that there are no records found. Let's see Sicily. So there's some more records found there. Whoops. Now notice I've got it for any. So these are the ones that'll show up. There's 24 sets of church records. But if I just go to online and hit update, there's 23 sets of church records, and there's fewer records this direction. So we can take a look, and we can see the different sets of records that are available. I can click on this one, and you can see that these are all viewable. They're not searchable. They don't have the little magnifying glass, but they're all viewable. And you can see these are baptism, marriage, and death records beginning in 1486, beginning here in 1491 to 1496, and so on. So let's just take a quick look at one of these early records. So there's one of your early records. And if you can understand the handwriting, you might be able, I can see Magdalena right there, but you might be able to find your families in these records. Since these are not searchable and they're not indexed, you have to go by dates. So you have to be able to figure out what dates this record is, and then go page by page in order to find the individuals you're looking for. So let's go to something that's a little bit later in time. Yeah, we can go to this 1857 set of records here. And notice this one has an index. You always want to look for the index. So we're in the L's, and it's going to tell me the page number for that record. And then we can go in and find the specific record we're looking for. Of course, it's more recent, and the handwriting tends to be a little bit easier to read. Mariana Barbara, so I can read a little bit of this, but there's Filippo Cagamente, something of that sort. So a little bit easier to read. You can see there's census records. So here are the different census records that are available for this location. And again, they're not searchable, but we can go in and see the census record information. Now, when you want to do and see what's been indexed, we can just go to records, search records, and then we can put in a name. Does anybody have a last name they want me to put in? You can take yourself off mute and give me a last name if you want. Nobody has an Italian last name? We'll go to Roseanne's last name here.
All right.
Okay. We'll just see where that name is located here. So you see here, these are in the United States. So it's going to go for that name first. Now we can go in and modify collections or modify residence. When you see the residence tab, you see Africa, Asia, Australia, Canada, Caribbean, continental Europe, Mexico, and so on and so forth. So we want continental Europe, and we want Italy. And now we can see the different localities within Italy. And we can pick one of these we want. We'll pick Sicily, and we'll hit apply. No, not Sicily. What do we want?
Avellino. Avellino. Oh, Calabria.
Calabria. Okay.
Campania.
So here we go. And so what we're seeing here are some records. These are American records. Let's see, ships records. So most of this looks like it's immigration records into Ellis Island for people who were born or lived in Calabria. And we'll just take a look at something here and just notice there's that one's spelled correctly. We'll just use that one. And so, then we'd have this record. So it looks like we don't necessarily have Italian records right here that are indexed, but we could find the names in these records. I'm going to go back and we're going to look at something else. Close this. And when we go in, we can put residence. Calabria, Italy. And yeah, so it just gives us the same thing with people who are potentially from Calabria. Now, we've done this before. I'm trying to get back to the front page here. Get back to the page. You can also go in to search images. Now, these are the unindexed images, but Calabria. And we can see what images are available. You can see here that we have various marriage records from different time periods. Over here on the right-hand side, we can pick the town that the person may be from. We can select the type of record. So, is it marriage, death, birth, migration? I'm just going to legal. And then it gives us the example of the legal documents that we might get, and we hit update. So we have 617. So I'm just going to pull up this first one here. Again, these are unindexed, so I can't do a name search within it in most cases, but I can go to the record and I can view it. So you can see, whose record this one is and what type of record it is. And if this matches your family, then you can go up to here to attach to tree, give it a source title, and then go to next, and then put the person's ID number in to attach it to that person's tree. So in many cases, you're going, in this case here, if I got rid of the legal and just went back to all, update, we have 61,000 record types. And you can see which town the record types are from. And I can also go in and, look at the map. And if I zoom in on the map, it gives me a little bit more breakout of where those records are located. And so I can go into a specific town for Triolo. I can see there's 333 records. I can view the results for that one. And now I can see those records here. Looks like a lot of marriage records, citizenship records, and so on. So I'm just going to pull up the citizenship record. And I should have looked at this first of all, because there's only 2 images. But there's the record for that individual. When these records come up on the list, it tells you how many images are available. Whoops. I can scroll over and you can see like there's 20 images here, 11 images, 19. So some of these are very small image sets. Okay. So, and as I showed you previously with the FamilySearch.org/research places, this is where you can type in the name Calabria, Italy, and I'll just go to that one, gives me the map. This is so you can see the origin of the name and the different names that location has gone by. So let's just see if there's anyone. There we go. So you can see this is the name in Greek, English. I don't know what this language is. There's Italian, but it goes by several different versions in Italian. These are all variants or misspellings. Sicilian has a different way of spelling that name. So you can see the different names. And if we go to research links, you can see the Wikipedia and History Pin references to that. So History Pin is a website that provides images of a location. So let's see if we get any images. Don't see any images for this location. So let's just go to Rome. Come on. You would think there had to be some for Rome. There we go. Okay. So the history pin is where people upload their image collections to a locality. And I don't know why the map. So as you zoom in on the map, you see where the pictures are located. And so we can go right directly to a set of pictures in the map. So if your family happened to be in a specific area, you can see if there's any pictures of that area on the map. Now, of course, when we enter a locality in on FamilySearch, it's always going to give you that standardized search term. And so this is why it's important. So for Calabria, this is 1948 to today. But if we go in, look at another Calabria, this one is in a different location. So notice the map location here. There's another Calabria right there. And so when we go in, you want to make sure you're picking the correct location as your standardized term. Or else the map for that individual will be in the wrong place. Okay, so we're going to move over to the Family History Guide. And the Family History Guide's the fhguide.com. And we've talked about this before because it's a great place to go and learn how to do your research. So we go down to countries and it's Southern Europe. And for some reason, these are not clicking today. So I opened it up so I can see all countries. And then you can see there's Italy. Now, of course, this isn't all countries. These are just the major countries. If I go down here, I can see more countries. And these are the countries where there's not as much genealogical information. You can see a lot of those countries. So when I click on Italy, it opens up open Italy again. It opens up the guide for Italy research. And the initial information here is how to do basic research. And you can see, expanding your research in Italy. This is a video by James Tanner. There's an ancestry video here on beginning and tips for beginning research. There's some handouts and a video for finding your Italian roots. And another video here on getting started with your Italian family research and so on. So once you've learned how to do the basic research, then you can learn how to do archives and libraries, civil registrations. Now, again, this has the little quick link, the lightning bolt. And so when I go down to the bottom of this page, there's a list of quick links down here that go directly to research or resources. So in this case here is the FamilySearch Italy births and baptisms, or FamilySearch Italy marriages, deaths and burials, and ancestries, Italian phone books. So when I click on that, births and baptisms, it goes right to that link. And then I can type in the name that I'm researching and see what records I can come up with. We have church and cemetery records. So, how to do Italian church records, ecclesiastical records, a short little 6-minute video, and so on. And then FamilySearch Trent Catholic Church records. And then we have cemetery records. We also go directly to the regions at the bottoms of the pages. So if we were looking for something, we could just go right to that region, and then it pulls up the wiki for that location on the FamilySearch wiki. Of course, gives you the map and gives you the research tools and websites where you might find information. We have immigration and emigration. And again, this one has quick links to United States Italians to American Index. We have military maps and gazetteers, newspapers, websites. So let's see what websites they give us. Well, that's surprising. I would think that Antonanti would be on that website along with some other ones, but okay. So when you're looking through the Italian records, you want to come over to the Family History Guide and just get some basic information on how to do the research. It'll give you some tips on where to find records, and that are very helpful. Like here's Italian newspapers. So you can actually find some newspapers that are free to look at. So I am going to oh, this is odd. Ah, there we go. I'm going to stop sharing the screen here for a second and give you guys about 10 or 15 minutes to ask any questions you might have. And then we'll see if we can help anybody, find a record or something like that if there's anything on FamilySearch or some other page. So anybody have any questions on Italian research on FamilySearch? Everybody's so quiet today. You're all muted. Yes, you're just fine.
Miles, I have a great grandfather that
Yes.
was married in Portanova in 1900. I cannot find his death. He was 50 in 1900.
Okay.
And I'm guessing he lived to be at least 80 or 90. Portanova is currently in, I believe it's now in the province of Puglia or Foggia, in that area now.
Okay.
Well, how can I try to find out about a death that happened, let's say, around 1930 or in the 1940s? Is there any way of trying to find deaths? It'd be in that area, not the Nova.
Yeah, and what which area was it in again?
Portanova, it's in the province of Foggia, or it was Foggia. It's probably Puglia now, but then I would think it would have been Foggia.
And how do you spell that?
Foggia.
Okay, so I'm just gonna do a quick check here for because the first thing I'm thinking of is, what sets of records are available. And so I'm going to go back here. I'm going to reshare again. Okay, so this is the wiki page for Foggia, Apulia, Italy. And if I go down here, of course, it says Antonanti, but then there's a state archives of Foggia. There may be some information there. but then I look at online digital records of civil registrations. These go to 1910.
1910, yeah, but I'm looking for around 1930 or 1940.
Right, right. And let's see if we have so death records began in 1809 and began in 1866 for this section. Because what I'm thinking is, and I don't know for sure, but there might be a limitation on the when the last set of records is available. And I don't see where are the vital records?
Sometimes in Atenada you find the latest records, and I found some
Yeah,
that go into 1917 or 25 or
yeah. So I don't know in Italy what their statute of limitations is. Of course, in the US, the 1950 census is the most recent record, a census record that we have. And that's because, there's living people within that census and they don't want to put up 1960 when a lot more living people are on it. And so usually, they might put death records 50 years. So, you're talking about 1930, 1940, we're talking about 80 or 90 years. And so what I'm going to check here is to see what sort of record sets that they do have. Of course, there's 1809, and we knew that.
if you go up to explore the archives, I think that they give the latest or the newest records they have. I thought I remember seeing that there.
And you said that's, I'm going to change it to English.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
I think
explore
it was
the
explore
archive.
the archive. I think it was in that. And do they have the? All right, and you have to go to Foggia 10. Mm. And it's Orta Nova, ORTA, and capital NOVA. Okay. Yeah.
Hmm.
And the next word is Nova, NOVA.
Yeah. Not seeing.
Not seeing anything there.
Yeah. Yeah, so my guess is that they might not have that set of records online, but I'm just checking to see if I can find one that has a date. So I went in from the most recent. Of course, these don't have dates on them, so I can't tell what the recent dates are. The year, let's see, the year 1883.
Oh, expand the years and see if what that goes to. Yeah.
So there are some records up to 1949. Let's just see which records those are. Looks like civil registers, marital status, civil status. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you may have to go through these and just see.
Go through every one of them, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. See if I can get a picture here. Yeah. So these are alphabetical order.
Yeah.
So you might
His
be able
last
to go,
name was Adricio too, so, yeah.
yeah, so you might just be able to go through and find the right sets of letters and see if he's listed in these registers. And then, go from that point. But
Okay, thank you.
I'm thinking that they don't have death records for that date is probably likely. But yeah, and instead of just, the church records, you might check on the civil records and see if there's any civil records that are available.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Next month, we do Germany. So Polly's excited. That'll help her out, right? And that will be currently it's on the 16th. So hopefully it'll still be on the 16th. As long as nothing happens to my schedule. So any last comments or questions on Italy before I turn off the recording?
No, thank you very much, Miles.